a new band of rebels arose who were determined to carry the fight to Jerusalem.
The Sicarii.
To the Sicarii, anyone who wasn't fighting the Romans was a collaborator and worthy of death.
Many were slain every day, and the fear men were in was worse than the calamity itself.
First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. So Brother Alazar Ben Loya, a.k.a. the Gorilla Hebrew. Just want to do this brief introduction before we get into this interview. It was a great experience to be able to sit down with this brother, Sanyika Shakur, or as some of you may know him as Monster Kody. He touched on a lot of powerful topics that are very impactful towards our community. So without any further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Just a brief disclaimer, though, I will be chiming in at various instances to do some post-production commentary. So listen out for that. Shalom. All right, man, we here with the legendary Monster Kody, author, revolutionary, all that. You see what I'm saying? So, we just want to kind of get this brother the floor, maybe ask a few questions, but, we go ahead and let you open up. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to open up with, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all coming through, man. Hollering at a cat, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to the people,
Yeah, oh yeah.
As the brother said, I'm Sanyika Shakur, man. Monster Kody. Enemy of the state,
Yeah, that's right.
That's me. Always hounded. First one locked up, last one to get out.
Yes,
it's been a continuous long ass war with me in the system, right?
Me too.
From the cradle. But I ain't in the grave though.
That's right.
And I'm still struggling, So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, it's
glad to meet him, man, because he really make me realize what Mama been telling me, like a lot of you, like, no, some people did you wrong, you just get some money out the people. And I'm like, God gonna take care of it, everything, what comes up must come down. That's the Lord's signs, It's gonna happen.
Yeah. I believe that.
Oh, yeah. Well, so what Kody, what is your stance on God, on the Creator?
Well, a lot of people think I'm a Muslim, man, and I'm not. You know what I mean? I respect Islam, and I respect people's right to practice Islam. You know what I mean? I went through that in the youth authority when I was in YA, took my Shahada Kalima, my oath. And so to some people, I'm still a Muslim, always once one is always one. But once I got to San Quentin, and I started learning how to read and write, I started understanding that some organized religious systems have done some terrible things to us as a people. And Islam is one of them. But that doesn't mean that all Islam as a religion is bad. It's just not for me. I'm telling you, man, wedge politics. That's what the beast do. The beast does wedge politics. They're opportunists. Any opportunity they get to pounce on the situation, they exploit it. Because we become targets of opportunity. And that's what I am, man. I've always been a target of opportunity.
Wedge politics and the divide and conquer tactics that, the white man has always employed has always been one of his, primary tools in order to fulfill his objective of keeping us separated and, inhibiting us from coming up, and so-called overcoming, as our some of our ancestors sung that song, we shall overcome. How do they prevent us from overcoming? Through things like wedge politics and divide and conquer tactics, all right? But it was a prophecy in the scriptures that they would utilize these tactics in order to further oppress us. Book of Deuteronomy 28:54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. As you see, that's Willie Lynch. The Willie Lynch indoctrination letter that went out, that was, served to plantation after plantation, and the tactics were indoctrinated into our minds, and generationally they have remained with us. This was prophesied in the Bible thousands of years before any of that would happen, that the true children of God would go through these things as a result of our transgressions. You see what I'm saying? So this is how we know the Bible is real and it's valid, because we can read it and we can see us living it out, and we could also see the step-by-step methodology in which we could get a solution and escape the chains of the oppression of the white man. But we first must come back to the Bible in truth, not in the religious system that the white man fed to us, because that's not the Bible. To look further on, verse 56, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. So as we see, brothers is having the evil eye towards each other, and women are having the evil eye towards their men. Men are having the evil eye towards their women. Parents are having evil eyes towards their children. Children are being disobedient. All this disarray that we see within our nuclear family and in our extended community, we can clearly bear witness to it being true, and it not being as rampant in other communities as it is within ours. Again, adding to the greater attestation that we are the people of the Bible, the Israelites. This is Deuteronomy 28:64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other, and thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. This is where we are serving these other gods, man. Okay, and we've been scattered in these places through slavery. And the brother touched on how the religious construct of Islam and what it has done to black people in the form of oppress us, right? And that's that stone, dealing with that Kaaba stone that they worship in Mecca. You deal with wood that represents the cross. Ain't nowhere in the Bible it says to worship the cross or use the cross as some form of symbol of devotion or anything like that, let alone that white fake Jesus that they put on the cross. We know he was a black man. That ain't no secret. So that wood cross and that white boy and that stone through Islam, those are the main mechanisms that we have been oppressed by various peoples, especially whites and Arabs, through their religious structures. All right. But see, the brother touching on these things, he's knowing about these things. But what we need to do is start connecting the dots back to biblical prophecy. The Bible has over 2,000 prophecies, the greater of which have all already come to pass and been true. And we're reading some of them right now. Okay. So I'm going to finish with this one. Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So we know the ancient Israelites were enslaved in Egypt. But this time we were going Egypt by the way of ships, which you don't need ships to go into Egypt from Israel. We needed ships to go from West Africa, okay, who a lot of the ancient West African tribes say they migrated from ancient Israel or Canaan land, right? We needed those ships to come across the Atlantic in the transatlantic slave trade, the Middle Passage. So this is all prophecy of how we would get here and the condition that we would be in when we got here. All right, the wedge politics, the disunity, all of that, all after we hopped off these boats that is talking about right here in verse 68. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. There ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you or redeem you. So we've been sold, bought, sold, and traded on these auction blocks, and nobody has came to give us our redemption. That's what Tukey was writing about, redemption. Nobody's came to give us reparations or repaired the damages done to us through the transatlantic slave trade and the things that impeded thereafter. It has not been done. So this is all a part of biblical prophecy, showing that we are the Israelites of the Bible.
But what I've learned throughout my warfare with these pigs, man, and this system is, harvest of opportunities go two ways. Everything goes two ways. Everything. Dialectics. Everything has two sides. Dual reality. The outside of your hand, the inside of your hand. The cup that holds the water, the outside of the cup holds your hand dry. Dialectics. Everything is twin. It's contradictory. So when some of us come through these struggles, man, and we seem to be contradictory, like Pac, they say Pac was contradictory. That one minute it was dear mama, the next minute it was wonder why we call you bitch, right? But the fact of the matter is, everybody's twin. And if you ain't ready to understand the reality of our physical and mental development here, then you ain't ready for this, man. And this, when we call this revolution, people think I'm supposed to come through in an army fatigue all the times, hooray, looking like the Black Panthers. I mean, I respect the Panthers. Some of my older comrades is OG Panthers. That just ain't me. Man, I'm a street dude. I'm from the turf. I'm from the gutter. Right now, I'm in Oceanside, California. I went straight to the bottom. And that's what I deal with. I deal with the lumping proletariat. The last level. Those who got a job sometimes, those who don't. Those who hustle, those who grind. And then I function with them. Cats be like, man, why you ain't out there throwing the revolution? And I'm throwing the revolution every day. I ain't killed a new African in years. To me, that's revolutionary. That means I've changed. That's all revolution is about. Man, I'm 53 years old. Real talk. And who would have thunk it? Because everybody I grew up with is dead or got life. Who would have thunk it? That I was going to make it through. And who's to say I made it through? Who's to say I ain't worse off than my homies that got murked when they was 14, 12? Who's to say, man, that I ain't doing better, or I am doing better than somebody who got life, man? At least the dude who got life, he eating every day. Because the pigs gonna make sure he does that, John. They gonna feed him. Dude, get out, talk about, I just did 30 years. You ain't had no choice, homie, the gate was locked. You had to do that, and they had a gun on you. What did you do when you was there? I don't give a fuck how much time you done. What was the quality of your time spent? I'm out here, I'm up against the beast daily. I got motherfuckers, everybody from code enforcement to the mayor, sweating in this small city. I gotta steal electricity to plug in my ankle bracelet twice a day or I go to jail. Isn't that a trip? That the California Department of Corrections got me stealing electricity. I gotta plug in. They don't give a fuck where. 2 hours a day or I go to jail. For every 1 hour I plug in, they can watch me for 12 hours. They say they got me on this ankle bracelet because I got witnesses and victims in LA. I've always had witnesses and victims in LA. That's what gangbanging is about. But this whole new thing was a political trip. I get out the Bay. Not only did they destabilize me, and they do that intentionally, man. We drove right straight past LA and they dropped me off in San Diego. My first time never not going back to the church when I got out of jail. First time ever. I've been going to jail since 1976. I always went back. But see, they read what we read. And I wrote in Monster that the object is not to go, but to come back. And pigs seize those opportunities. That's what I was telling you about opportunists. They do psychological profiles. There's a book out called The FBI War Against Tupac Shakur by John L. Potash. Get this book, man, to blow your mind. These these pigs is into numerology and all that, man. That's what they do, man. But I don't want to go too deep into that part because, I ain't on this whole Illuminati thing. But I know all that, too. I studied all that and got empirical knowledge and got some practical actions done with that as well, against that strain, but that ain't what this is about, man. I'm 53, like I said. Been out of Pelican Bay since 2012. I was there during the hunger strikes. Lost a few pounds doing that. Struggled with the brothers. Struggled with the representatives from each group. I pushed the end to hostilities line. You know what I'm saying? We ain't out here creating no national conflict with the Mexicanos or the Sureños.
Yeah, I see. That's what I was going to ask you about too. What about the Black and Brown unity? Because I read your book, of course, Monster, and in Monster I saw, a certain level of disdain you had, for the South Side. You know what I'm saying? During that, but I was going to ask you, as your growth and your maturation since then, what do you feel about Black and Brown unity?
Well, that's a good point because also I did a documentary called War Stories, where through the course of the documentary I started banging on Sureños about our war. At that time, we was at a height, we was at a tall end of a war with the Sureños. And I did a documentary in like 2000 or maybe 1999. Possibly even.
That's the one with Capone was on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then somebody, the director, I guess, Billy Wright, this weirdo, he fucking chops the video up. And so now it's like, one section says Monster banging on Sureños, Monster dissing Ice Cube, as if those were segments. And that was just in a long, continuous conversation. The fact of the matter is, we're going to denigrate our enemies. We ain't going to talk good about our enemies, they ain't going to talk good about us. Just like we're going to be Mayates, they're going to be Maji Mongongos, they're going to be wetbacks, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's the ignorance in the war, to deface your enemy. That's what that was about. But
it was like every time you get a pack of Newports, which what they gonna call them. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
Exactly.
Real talk. So that was the context that was spoken on in, and also my whole get down is, man, unity of the people, primarily working class, lumpen proletariat people, students, elders, civilians. The street soldiers is there militarily. They may not be able to think their way through a lot of shit, but militarily, the street soldiers got the courage and got the incentive to struggle with us. And I think they'll fall in line once we start moving in that direction. But, I'm a nationalist, man. I'm a revolutionary nationalist. So I'm down with cats that push the Chicano line. You know what I mean? I'm down with cats push, getting our slime back. Brown Riders Liberation Party, Black Riders Liberation Party. I'm down with all that. Like I said, we came together during the hunger strikes up in the Bay. Their representatives, ours, struggled together, man. We all went hungry. We all said no. We all said stop the debriefing. We all said these are our 5 core demands. And so out of that came the agreement to end hostilities.
It's very powerful that brother spoke on the black and brown, or so-called African American and Latino relations and unity, because that's powerful right now. That's the last thing on this earth that the white man wants, and it was very monumental that they were able to do that within the confines of a prison institution where we know the racial politics are on high levels. It's not even as bad in the streets as it is in the jails, right? But it was a very powerful move for them to be able to come together on one accord while being in that prison institution, right? It's the white man's greatest fear for the black and brown to come together and form one fist. But it's biblical prophecy that it inevitably will take place. And I'm going to read it to you right now, Zechariah 9:13. When I have bent Judah for me, Judah represents the black man, the West Indian man, the Haitian man, right? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi as the tribes. Fill the bow with Ephraim, that represents the Latino and indigenous peoples of the Americas. The so-called Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Native Americans, Brazilians, etc., etc., the indigenous and Negro ones, right? And raise up thy sons, O Zion. We the sons of Zion. We split off and became like we was 2 different people, but originally we was all one in ancient Israel. Raise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece. Who is Greece? We know who Greece is, the white man. And made thee as the sword of a mighty man. So inevitably the Most High God has prophesied that we will be made as a sword of a mighty man against the white man. That inevitably will happen. And that's why they are constantly pushing them wedge politics to break us up as a people, because they know as soon as black and brown come together, they're going down. That's their greatest fear. So they're going to continually indoctrinate us with hating one another when they're the real enemy. When we have one commonality, if not anything else, well, 2, our melanin and the fact that we have a common oppressor.
And we know it's not going to tumble down and happen immediately. LA is still at war. I think the Longos and the homies out of the 20s and insane, they had this 100 days thing. And so, maniacal shit is going to happen in the season of the sickness. Maniacal things, crazy maniacs is going to be running around. We got serial killers in the turf. Real talk. So, in a nutshell, man, I'm down with unity. I don't dislike nobody because of their color. That's so silly to me. I don't dislike nobody because of what gang they belong to. Tell you the truth, because I ain't in that, flow no more. So I disengage from that, man. And at the same time, I'm still here. As you come into the new, you bring inevitably things from the old. And so that's what happens, man. So I don't bang mine like, say, Zaid Malik Shakur did his. I don't bang mine like, say, Sanyika Shakur did his. Because that was a different time, man. And them is my elders, them is my Jesus in this revolutionary thing, in this new African movement. At the same time, cats got to understand, man, there ain't no straight lace shit in this. Man, we are the outlaws. So everything the system does, we do counter. Not because just to be counter, but because it's the right thing. Because if they going right, man, then we need to be going left. And left can look like anything we want it to be. We are the laws of the left.
Yes, we need to be contrary to whatever the system is, because whatever the system is pushing is wickedness. That's the system's idea, to push wickedness, to push madness, to push things that are not conducive and are not positive, right? That's why the homosexual rights are getting so damn big. That's why when you got the Beyoncés and the Kendrick Lamars doing what they do, speaking out or having doing those performances on those global stages and having just a little bit of quote unquote black pride. They hate it so much because their whole agenda in their system is anti-us. So our agenda and system needs to be anti-them, okay? And the Bible speaks about their agenda and their system and how anti-us and anti-righteousness and most importantly, God it is. This is Isaiah 29:16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. So they have turned everything upside down. They're saying everything that is wrong is right, and they're acting as if God created it to be that way. Number one, they're acting it as if the white man is a superior race on the earth, when nature itself, biology, physiology, any study, any aspect you want to go into, teaches you the exact opposite of that, that the black man is original, that the black man is superior, and everything about the white man is genetically inferior, from his deprivation of melanin to his eye color, to just everything about him, right, is weak and inferior to us. And that's why he's so parasitic and predatory in the way he acts, because a parasite is weak. A parasite needs to leech off people and drain people of everything they have. So that's how he operates. But he will act like he is the superior people on the planet Earth when he's parasitic, he's low, he's scum. Okay, so when you take all those things into consideration and understand that, now you understand that they have turned everything upside down. Homosexuality is cool. Using drugs is cool. All these things is cool. Why? Because they have turned it upside down, and they are trying to portray it as if this is the way that God made it and intended it, when it is the exact opposite. For the work shall say to him that made it, he made me not. Or shall the thing that framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding, i.e. transgenderism. You know, your damn Bruce Jenners. When he goes and gets that sex change, he's basically saying that God made me wrong. He made a mistake. I need to be framed as a woman. I wasn't supposed to be framed as a man. That's that madness, and that's what people are doing. But again, it's all a part of biblical prophecy. It's Job 10:22. A land of darkness as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death, without any order, where the light is as darkness. And that's the land we live in. Straight darkness. When we preach in light and righteousness and black revolution and brown revolution and black and brown unity and things like that, they view that as darkness. They view that as a goddamn hate crime, when they literally commit hate crimes and murder black people and Hispanic people and Native Indian people and get away with it every day. But what we do is considered as darkness, right? But what they do is considered as light, and this place is without any order. The brother spoke about the order out of chaos. Order out of chaos. That's how they operate, man. All right. So again, this is all in the Bible, speaking about the conditions that we're living in as a people right now.
So we outlaws, man. We outside of the American law. We're not trying to be Americans. I'm cool with that. I ain't got no beef with the Afghani people, man. I ain't warring with Syria. I ain't got no beef with, Bashar. None of that, man. That's the American thing. And that's not my get down. My get down is getting free, getting independent from this, man. I ain't trying to overthrow the U.S. government. I'm trying to get away from this motherfucker. It's rotten, hot, filthy, in life. My little brother, man, little monster, is a fucking rat. Real talk. The homie sent me the paperwork from this joint. Dude was across the street at my house, living with me at the time. I bang across the street because I gotta kill him, because that's the rules. Gotta murder this dude, my little brother. I've been knowing this dude since 1965, man, when he was born. He became Little Monster in 1979, joined the turf in 79. Immediately started getting his G's up. Man, this dude had so much rank by 92, and he joined the set in 79, and he represented all the keyways, all the Crips in LA during the rebellion when Oprah would come, when Ted Koppel would come. This dude has done documentaries, he fronted and acted like he'd been down with the people and shit, and this dude is a cold fucking pig. Real talk, real chop.
But with you saying that, and expressing that towards your brother, if with our organization, of course, we moving, streetwise militant, everybody's from the streets, that's a part of the organization. But at the same time, we coming with the bylaws and the statutes that we find within the scriptures. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
and with that, it's zero tolerance on all of that you talked about. You see what I'm saying? All of that you talk about is zero tolerance. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So and that's why we push it, and we say when we go into the Christian church, right? When all of us was going to church, they taught us one thing to stay away from in that Bible, which is that Old Testament and that law. But that's where we learn this discipline that we need, and that's why we so adamant about pushing it, to the youth. Is if we get into these bylaws, this is when we're going to start conducting ourselves properly.
Man, that's so beautiful you said that, man. That's so deep, man, and that's so true. Because if we don't start getting into the bylaws, into the structure, into the edifice, the infrastructure of building ourselves into a mighty movement, a mighty organization, a mighty grouping of people, man, it begins with cleaning house.
That's right.
It begins with getting rid of the sickness, man. The sickness is not just them against us, it's us against us. Remember Chris Rock had that thing, man, the niggas and the blacks, Civil War. It's the same thing, man. It's the new Africans and it's these blacks. I'm telling you, man, the blacks, and I hate to sound like this, but they made a deal with the system, man. They go in a different way. And they different ways and more ways, man, run counter to the structure, man. And so my little brother thought he can get away with that, and I never would come to y'all and say, man, help me handle this personally. And this is a personal situation. This is a community issue. This man is an informant. He's not a snitch. He didn't do it one time. He's an informant. He informs about our activity. Man, I got captured in 1988 with an AK-47 that he gave me. Nobody knew where I was but him. My pad got raided, man, got the chopper. Man, as I go back in my life, man, dude's having sex with my niece. Talking about it was a threesome. Man, that's your niece, man. I mean, come on, man, how you guys are so sick? What happened, man? You and my little brother, I'm choking this dude and I'm trying to kill him, man, because that's the rules. And man, and I'm crying. Because this is my little brother. But this dude ain't my brother, man. This dude is sick. This dude is sick, man. We were born into these gene pools by no inertia of our own. We were born into these gene pools, man. We were brought here by our parents. You became my brother not because I chose you to be my brother, man. You was born right there. I'm familiar with you. I don't like you, but I love you because I'm familiar with you. I could be best friends with somebody else and not even like my brother. Just because he's my brother from the same gene pool don't mean we supposed, man, this dude is counter to everything I'm about. He's lazy. Dude don't work out. This dude smokes and drinks everything he wants to do. He has sex with people who can't control themselves so he can control them. This dude works with the historical enemy against our community. This dude, man, it's just, it runs so deep and I can go on so much and I don't want to make this about that. Man, I'm saying, man, this is the struggle too. This is the revolution too. It's beginning to have maintenance on our community.
Oh yeah. Because you know, a lot of people, like, you know, caught up in the Christian church. What's happening is they got us looking up in the sky, you know, for somebody to come out the sky. And I'm not saying necessarily that ain't gonna happen, but basically saying when you know, Christ was on the scene, he always taught it's within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. We have the power within us, but if we do not make the necessary corrections within our own communities, then we're not gonna see nothing. We're gonna stay in the goddamn struggle.
This is Luke 17:21. Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of the Most High is within you. So the kingdom of God, that's within us, man. It's not something that we looking all over the world for, man. You know, Christianity got our people messed up, sitting on our hands waiting. We need to get active. We need to wake our people up. We need to do maintenance, as the brother was so aptly speaking about. Maintenance, maintaining our community, cleaning up our communities, cleaning up ourselves, making ourselves better functioning human beings so we can do better good and greater good for the collective of our people. That's the kingdom of heaven being manifest. We have the power and we have the capabilities because we are innately a righteous and divine people, a chosen people of the Most High God. But we have to start acting like it, and we have to start living by the laws, statutes, commandments, and bylaws handed down to us from God, okay, by our forefathers, starting with Moses. We need to get back into that because that is what's going to make us better as a people. That's what's going to make us stop murdering, stop pimping, stop prostituting, stop selling dope, etc., etc. Because once you go into those laws, you see all of those things are forbidden and are punishable by death. Also, homosexuality. You know, something I didn't get to talk to the brother about, it slipped my mind, but I was very anxious to talk to the brother about, and I'm upset I wasn't able to, is the homosexual nature of, you know, the prison industrial complex and what goes on behind them doors, and then what trickles out to the streets. Homosexuality, masculine, you know, homosexuals, not just the fruity ones, not just the quote unquote punks. Well, that whole homosexual ideology and demon, I'll call it, and you know, it's really ravishing our communities right now. It does a whole lot of hurt. That's something else that is forbidden and punishable by death according to the laws of God. So as we see, if we apply these laws to our lives, each one teach one as individuals first, it will trickle down. It will formulate in the greater community and make our communities better. But we're not doing that. So we need to do that in order to manifest the kingdom of heaven here on earth. It's not some place on the sky that you go to when you die. It's some place that you live in on earth, but you need to do your part in manifesting it. Until that moment, we will continually live in hell as the white man lives in his heaven.
You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna stay in the toilet. If we don't struggle about the toilet, we're gonna get flushed. And flushing means being downsized, means being genocidally wiped away. It means that you got to understand America as a business and that we are a commodity. And when we outlive our usefulness to the means of production and distribution, then we'll get downsized. The work that we as African people were brought here to do has been done. They don't need us no more as a class or an eternal nation. We become a threat. So what happens is that threat has to be nullified.
Okay, we become a threat to this white man. Okay, so he's employing the same exact tactics that the ancient Egyptians did against the ancient Israelites. Again, further adding to the attestation that we in fact are the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, the ancient Hebrews, the ones that were led out of Egypt by Moses, right? So let's go here to Exodus 1:7 to prove that the white man is using the same tactics as the ancient Egyptian did. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. We're more and we're mightier than the white man overall. Verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, right? Let us deal wisely. Let us cunningly introduce things into this society that is going to dwindle down their numbers, like the brother spoke on the dwindling process, from the GMO foods they feed us, the chemicals that are in these plastics, the chemtrails they blow over our heads, the corrupt justice system, you know, the corrupt child support system, and the corruption of the nuclear family, the corruption of the black household. All those things are how they are wisely dealing with us, on top of just trying to get off with excuses for outright murdering us in the streets, i.e. your Trayvons and your Mike Browns, right? Let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land, right? So the whole idea was to exterminate us, and that's the white man's idea right now, in fear of the fact that we will conquer and overtake them, okay? And there's another prophecy about it in the Bible. Let's go here to Psalms 83, starting at verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against our people and consulted against our hidden ones. All right, so they have a council, a consultation that they had about getting rid of us, right? Verse 4. And that's what the brother spoke about with the think tanks, right? Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are in one consent and on one accord for their want and their desire to eliminate us as a people. They are confederate against us. The tabernacles of Edom, that's the white man, and the Ishmaelites, that's the Arab, of Moab, that's the Chinese, and the Hagareans, Gabal and Ammon, more Asians and Arabs, and Amalek, right, the so-called Jewish man, who are also Edomites. Amalek is basically a tribe of Edom. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, certain of those Africans who co-conspired with the Arab and the white man to sell us into slavery during the Middle Passage, and even prior to that. There is a global conspiracy against us as a people, and we must bear witness to that. Okay, if we want to remain in the dark about it, we're going to continue to fall victim to this global conspiracy. All right, we have to acknowledge it. We have to acknowledge the fact that it was prophetically spoken in the Bible, and we have to do what's right in order to combat it, especially on a spiritual level, because this fight is a whole lot more spiritual than we act like it is.
It's not that all the indigenous people are gone. We know that they're not all gone, but their existence to the means of production and distribution has been nullified to a casino existence. And they live on the reservation, but they can't invite Fidel Castro to their nation because they're not a free nation. They're a reservation nation. And that's what they want to do us. They want to, you know, they ain't going to wipe us all out. They just going to put us in corrals, man, and call them something. A gated community or halfway house or a school. But you exactly right, man. And I'm human, man, so I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm out here in the social pool of life, experimenting, trying different things. I'm practicing theory. I'm saying, if we go up here and do this particular action, what will be the result? Can we educate, elevate? Can we conscientize? Can we stop one brother or one sister from eating on each other? That's the revolution. Maintenance.
One at a time, one at a time.
One at a time. The Panthers had each one teach one. Each one reach one. Educate to liberate. You know, those are catchy tunes, man, but those are also axioms. Those are adages, man. Those are proverbs, man, that we need to live by. So, you know, I ain't gonna do this perfectly. I ain't gonna do it pretty. I'm not trying to do it perfectly and pretty. I'm trying to carry my end of the torch in my leg of the race. That's all I'm trying to do. You know what I mean?
You're always trying to compete.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is, this is a marathon. What LL Cool J say about Barack when he got it? We gotta act like skinny Kenyans, man. You know what I mean? Real talk. This ain't no 100-yard dash.
Yeah, you saying so you can't start a marathon for running fast. You're gonna be tired of it.
Right. We gotta pace ourselves.
They're gonna be laughing at you like, yeah, I thought he won.
You know how long? Let me tell you what revolution is like and change is like. That what happened between 68 and 71, which we avow as the revolutionary years of this country, Student for a Democratic Society, the Black Panther movement, the Black Liberation Movement, Nation of Islam, the student movement, the anti-war movement. That whole was a revolution. It took from 1865 when they let us out of slavery to build to that. It took through Noble Drew Ali, through Elijah Muhammad, through Malcolm X, through Martin Luther King, the Civil Rights Movement, to the Panthers, to riots. Boom. To people talking about arm yourselves. It took almost 100 years to get from there to there. We are now in the beginning stages. We're just in the Rosa Parks sitting down on the bus stages right now. That's what maintenance is. When those strikes happen, that was maintenance too. You ain't gonna let you treat us like that. Maintenance. You don't get on the bus. That's maintenance too, man.
You're right about that, because in 1995, all the black kids were still sitting right there.
Yeah, so, and then we intentionally go to the back of the bus. I was rebelling against our parents to be left to what they was about. But our leftwardness looks left, but it's really rightwardness. Like street gangs are right-wing organizations. They believe in everything that the American government believes in, even if they say they don't, because they're capitalists. You know, they're parasites. You know what I mean? They're gun vote diplomacy. You know, we come up in your hood, we dump it first. Then we talk about it. That's what America does to whole countries. You know?
Yeah, it's just on a micro level with the street gang. It's just a micro level, yeah.
Micro, macro.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly right, man. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
You know,
Like Tupac said, they kill a nigga and get it, spin it with pay.
or how about Pac say this? And they tell me it's the white man I should fear when it's my own kind doing all the killing here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Man, I mean, that's true. And then, of course, it's at the same time not true. Because
who put us in this position?
yeah. And not just that, but somebody wrote, and I read, and it was footnoted, that between 1980 and now, 13 million babies of African descent have been aborted.
Abortions, yeah.
Wow. Man, and they talking about 50,000 people a year on alcoholism during car wrecks is the high number. Or 90,000 a year on certain types of cancer. Man, you're talking about 13 million since 1980. My daughter was born in 1980. She made it through. But just think, had her mother went that day, said, no, I'm cool. I don't have no baby by Sanyika.
I heard about black men. They got the most black man born, and by the time when babies, it's more black brothers than anybody. By the time we're 18,
We go, yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the whittling down process, because you got to get rid of the phallus, so it won't unite with the vagina, so it won't have another phallus or vagina. So what you do is you do things to the male part. That's why they were saying black male is in danger. That don't make sense. We all be in danger.
Abortion, the genocide that has been committed on our people through the legalization of abortion and the destruction of the black household. I mean, this is not a new thing. It's what they did in ancient Egypt, but it's a little more crafty, a little more wise. They have a little bit more technological prowess that has enabled them to be more wise and cunning with how they are committing that infantile genocide upon our people. Let's find out. This Exodus 1:16. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife, is what the Pharaoh was speaking unto the midwives, to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. So they were trying to destroy the phallus, as the brother Monster Kody or Sanyika Shakur spoke about. Because if you destroy the phallus, you destroy the nation. Because through the testicles and the phallus of a man is a nation further. The woman is the soil that the seed is planted in. But the seed, when it sprouts up, it is whatever its initial, what it came from was. So if it came from an apple tree, then it's going to grow and become an apple tree. So the phallus and the testicles is what determines the race or the nationality or the ethnicity of a child, okay, who will grow up into a man or a woman. So they knew then to destroy the phallus just like now. Okay, this is Exodus. And to prove that abortion is a heinous crime and a murder according to the Bible. Let's go here to Exodus 21 and starting at verse 22. If men strive and hurt a woman with child, so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, meaning it was unintentional, he shall surely be punished. If it was an unintentional wounding of the child, and the child departed from her, then what would occur would be there would be a punishment, right? But keep listening. According as the woman's husband will lay upon whoever the father was, whatever punishment, however many lashes, whatever sum of money that he would like paid, that's what would happen, right? But keep listening. And he shall pay as the judges determine. And if any mischief follow, meaning it was intentional, he did it out of malice and maliciousness and mischievously, then shalt thou give life for life. So that is a life that is within the womb of that woman. Okay, so if you take that life with intentions of taking that life, then your life is required in the eyes of God. We need to keep that in mind before we send our women to Planned Parenthood, and we don't want to man up for the responsibilities of laying down with a woman. Our men need to be more responsible, man. We need discipline, we need order, and we need our moral compass reinstalled back into our psyches, because the white man has ran a train on our psyches, quite frankly, with his immorality and his goddamn wickedness. So we need the moral compass reinstalled within our psyches, and the only way to do so is to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father and acknowledge your identity as the Hebrew Israelite. That's it. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man.
So what I do is like martial arts. You soft focus. You soft focus. You don't watch the hands. You don't watch the eyes. You soft focus so you can see any movement. And that's how you got to deal with the struggle, man. I got the PO over here. I got a number of breeds over here. I don't know what these ATF, DEA. I ain't gonna tell them which breed they'll use. Military intelligence, the mafia, regular street organization members. What they'll try to get you to do is die the way you lived, or the way they persuade you to live, so they can get away. You know?
Like with easy, huh?
Man, with easy, man. Easy. And I mean, the brother walked into the hospital 3 days later, he had full-blown AIDS. The 4th day he was dead or something like that. That's crazy. But we're dealing with forces, man, that are unseen. Silent weapons, quiet wars. That shit is real. You know? And you can see it, you can feel it. You can feel the reverbs of the trauma coming through the community. You know what I mean? You can see the pain and anguish tattooed on our faces, not just etched. Not just etched. This shit is tattooed on us, man. This is our permanent scowl. Up against life all the time, man. At the same time, man.
Kind of like the Civil War, son.
It's not even a civil war because we ain't citizens of the same nation. What it is, and that wasn't a civil war that happened in the 1800s either. So it was the CSA, the Confederate States of America, against the USA. It was 2 different countries. They had their own president, their own money, their own, their own Senate, their own thing. The USA vamped on them and said, we're gonna be the imperial power here. It's gonna be a consolidated monopoly capitalist class, and we running it right here. Y'all with us or not? Y'all can't just keep running these slaves.
And everybody gonna be slaves now,
right,
yeah.
Right, yeah. Because we got a new thing. Fuck individually owning them under mercantile capitalism. If we collectively round them up, we can herd them into the northern industries and make them a Lazarus layer of proletarians, permanent proletarians. They work down there, we can work them up here. Boom. 1865, Emancipation Proclamation. Slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist in these United States or any territory subject to its jurisdiction unless one has been duly convicted of a crime. That's what it says. They wrote that in 1865, like wrote that shit last week of the Prop 47. Because they think like chess. They play 2 or 3 moves ahead. Because they have that luxury as pigs, as billionaires, as financiers, as owners of the land that they've taken. They have that luxury to say, let's sit in the Hoover Institute and see what they have to say about that. Get the Cato Institute in on this, Jim, and we'll see if they can bring something. How's that? Brookings, bring them in. And then they have these people think tanks. They think like tanks. What tanks do? Run shit over. So they sit in this room brainstorming on our reality, brainstorming on our future, on our kids' future. And people think that shit don't happen in ivory towers and dark smoky rooms. That's bullshit. It happened just like that. They are talking about Black Disappearance Day. That's what they're talking about. Because what they do, America does, man, real talk, and I'm not just screwing rhetoric here, man, but America, they got a sense of humor as serial killers. The American government, the ruling class, though. After they kill your nation or nullify it, they name inanimate objects after you, like the Apache attack helicopter. Wouldn't you just call them the Apache savages the other day? Wouldn't you just call them dead Indians? Now you got an attack Apache helicopter? Or the Washington Redskins, the Atlanta Braves. You don't think they're talking about having the Baltimore niggas? The motherfucking Philadelphia porch monkeys? They talking about those are, that's what they talking about, Black Disappearance Day, man. Not that we all gonna be gone. I see the documentary. Let me tell you one last thing. Look. I see the documentary PBS. I'm in the base. Documentary. It was about this indigenous brother named Ichi. He was the last man of his whole nation. No other woman to procreate with from his nation to make another one. Yeah, we all humans, we understand that, but you have an affinity towards your own that looks, smells, and functions like you. That's an affinity, man, that goes beyond just, you know what I mean? But it was so sad, because here this cat was, man, he was the last man of his nation that existed. Everybody else had been decimated. How must that man have felt? Man, it was so sad, man. Man, I think I cried like all through that documentary. And that's another thing. Don't take my tears, man, as a sign of weakness. Man, I'm emotionally attached to this, man. Che Guevara himself said the revolutionary must be inspired by love. I'm inspired by more love than hate. Because if it was more hate than love, I'd be blasting on these dudes every day. White people. Baltimore. Yeah, you know, I get Baltimore, they prop to the black. I mean, in New York, Baltimore, prop to the Keyway, the y'all moves that came together out there, man. That's dope, man. I'm down with all that, man. I think Malcolm said, they asked Malcolm about the mile miles. They said, what do you think about the mile miles? Malcolm said something to the effect of, what took him so long? Or, you know what I mean? Why not? You know, I mean, what did you expect to come out of this? Brain surgeons? What did you expect to come out of this? Man, come on, man. You're breeding a situation that's going to get volatile sooner or later. That's what's going to happen. That's the dialectical reality of our situation. And the more you grind, the more we grind. The more we lose, the worse off we become. The less we give a fuck. And we trying to stop this thing from degenerating, like Johnson said, into some kind of little crazy maniacal race war. But we know it's going to come to that against these motherfuckers going to be in the street. We don't know how long it's going to last. Because they stack it, we stack it. We all out here, man. We see them, they see us. But fuck being all broke up, man. You see what they've done with the Middle East? Crazy. Man, they got, it's so crazy when I read the newspaper about the Middle East, it causes me to have headaches sometimes. The Americans is supporting the resistance against Bashir. Bashir is America's mortal enemy because Bashir is really a socialist, secular Muslim nation. Bashir is getting support from the Russians, but the Russians is helping the militants. I mean, it's just a world war. Hey, how you doing, sister? Again, you got a soft focus. So when I read that, I read it, I consume it, hopefully drop it in my subliminal, where it's stored, my retention and recall. But I soft focus on that. I don't say, man, okay, who's leading the resistance? Who's, man, they create quagmires. They do that to create conspiracy. They do that to create confusion. Because cow, out of chaos comes order. Trust and believe that. That's the line they push. That's their science. Out of order comes chaos. So it looks like crazy madness, and all the time they're like, that Brookings Institute report, did you get it, Jim? That's right, have it on my desk by 4. Cato's in. Okay, we got the Cato Institute report in. Now, how about that? Now, you know what I mean? That's what they do. And then they compile all that with another analyst. And he says, by 2019, there'll be 60 less Iraqi boys in this particular region because they've been depleted, killed by depleted uranium as a consequence of bombs dropped during this raid here. Therefore, we can move some Kurds into this area. You know, and so what they do, they're playing chess, man. They're playing chess, and they're playing serious chess, man. And they're making power moves. And at the same time, understand this. Our power moves got to mirror theirs on our level. Because they're doing maintenance. We got to do maintenance as well. We got to do that, man. We got to do that, man. And so I'm all for that, man. You know, I'm down with everybody that's down with, you know, I want to say this personally, man. I'm so impressed with cats like General Taco, man. You know, the whole Black Riders, man. The cats, man. I mean, Man, all the brothers in the joint, man, really appreciate the brothers. That's real. You know, there's somebody's out here, man.
It really needs this piece of it. You know?
That's all I'm gonna say, man. You know, I'm Sanyika Shakur, man. I'm from the Republic of New Africa. That's the name of my nation, man. You know, I'm a revolutionary, man. I'm anti-U.S. government. You know what I mean? That's my style, man. Free land.
All praises, honor, and glory again unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.